6 o'clock, so we will call the
5:00. 5
5
o'clock.
o'clock, I mean, so now the special city council budget workshop session into. So we have a roll call, please.
Shelly,
Yes.
Mahler,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Andor.
Yes.
Okay, so the only thing on the agenda is the new business is the budget work session number 2, and so could I have approval of the meeting agenda? Motion.
Move that we go. Now the second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Andor,
Yes.
Shelly,
Yes.
Mahler.
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll now open up fiscal year 2027 budget workshop session number 2.
Just
Let's
need
start.
a motion in a second.
Okay. We have a motion for that.
Motion that we open up fiscal year 2027 budget work session number 2.
I will second that.
Roll call?
We're good. Just go to.
So, okay. Who wants to start?
Lead on the insurance.
Sure. So, Catherine Paulson with North Risk Partners is on. They will be here to talk a little bit more during our renewal process. But wanted to give council a heads up. During their, I guess, search, they did find another option outside of Blue Cross Blue Shield with Health Partners. That could save quite a bit of money for the insurance costs. So Catherine's here to kind of jump in. Because at Walmart Blue Cross Blue Shield, we are in it through a trust, IGCHP. Did I say the right acronyms? IHCP. We do have to give a notification if we are not going to partake in the trust by April 1st. Even though with Walmart, we don't have to give them notification 30 days prior. With that being said, we did hold some meetings with Catherine and Skip. Vicki came to one of the employee meetings as part of the personnel committee. Some employees still have some questions, just wanting clarification on things. So we have scheduled with Catherine to come next week with hopefully somebody from Health Partners. So with all of that kind of being tossed out there, depending on what the council obviously wants to do, we will likely possibly hold a phone poll after those other rounds of employee meetings and see if you guys want to give approval to notify the trust that we may leave. It's just formality. If we give them notification, Skip did verify that we could come back and say, hey, even though we gave you notification, we still went in. And they would still honor the 2.55% increase and let us back in. So we just have to give them April 1st deadline. Did I hit everything, Catherine?
Yep, you did.
So what is the percentage savings if we go to the other plan and, or?
Being you go Walmart, it would be a 2.5% increase. And that would be $1,047,740 per year if we instead with Health Partners at the same exact plan, the 10% copay. That would be $90,015. So that would be about a decrease of 12%. That would save us around 100.
So Vicki just said, Catherine, and I'm gonna let you answer this for around the same coverage. Can you kind of elaborate on that just a scotch? Like I said, I know we'll probably get more into details during renewal. But
Sure. So when we go out to market, we look at the different plans and the different one of the things we want to look at is your plan design and your access to provider networks. And so here, what we did is we did that. We looked at your provider networks. This would be a national plan. Majority of your providers are going to be in network. They use their own network or Midland's Choice in the state of Iowa, and outside of the state of Iowa, they use what's considered the Cigna Health or WRAP network. We then have looking at the plan design. We have an option on the table that would actually remove your partially self-funded. So right now, when somebody goes to the doctor, they have a higher deductible and out of pocket because we know that a lot of people are not going to meet that higher deductible and out of pocket. Or even meet that deductible. And so you guys partially self-fund down to the lower, the $500 and the $1,000. So we have it's for about a 12% reduction where you would actually remove that second explanation of benefits that you get right now from EBS, but still have the lower deductible and out of pocket. We looked at mirroring it apples to apples and still having that second layer in there, that second EOB. Health Partners doesn't put as much savings into that. So really to make it easier for your members and ease of administration and that kind of stuff, we just removed that altogether. When you're looking at plans and carriers, to say everything is going to be completely 100% apples to apples is you can't say that because they might bill different. They might code things different. People have some different in their prescriptions, but as far as the core plan, the plan is mirrors what you have currently today. With a couple enhancements, you have an enhancement of a vision exam for a preventative exam that would be covered at 100%, so no charge to the member. And then also your diagnostic labs and x-rays would be covered at 100%. So a member would not be charged those things. Are there additional questions? It's kind of a real brief overview, but
I think for the most part, employees have seemed in the meetings, asked a lot of questions and seem pretty receptive. There's just a handful of people still out there that just want clarification on something. Change is scary.
So basically the same coverage or better.
And it's not just, I mean, the overall plan amount changes, so therefore the employee amount is going to change because you pay the 15%. So the amount that the employee is being charged on the payroll will also decrease. Not by an astronomical amount, but yeah, I mean, it'll put more money in.
Everyone is it.
Yes.
There's always a lot of questions with that.
yeah, so next week
Susie
when
loves the partial self-funding and answering all of our questions.
Yeah, the partially self-funding can always be a little bit tricky. Next week when we come, Health Partners is going to join me as well. I have asked them to bring a prescription drug list because that's one of the number one things people are concerned about, where their prescriptions is going to fall. I can also help with some of that stuff if it's like a brand name. A lot of those have actual manufacturer coupons where they can get those for a lower copay or even $0 sometimes. The tricky thing is those are going to have to go through, some of them may have to go through prior authorization, and that works with the doctors and the pharmacy team at Health Partners. Usually that first script, they'll allow them to pick them up without a prior authorization, but we'll try to be proactive on that. I'm also asking her to bring in mail order. So if anybody uses the mail order program, Health Partners also has something called Virtual. So you guys may be familiar with Doctor on Demand. You don't feel good, you're traveling, that kind of thing, you can call virtually. Well, they have what's called Virtual, and you can do the same thing, except there's no copay to it. So if you feel like you have a sinus infection, you're traveling, they can prescribe a medication, or you're at home and you don't want to be out among all those germs. That also makes me think that you guys have a plan now where if you have somebody, a student that is going to college out in Tennessee, you have to call and sign them up for guest services so that they are treated just like they were in the state of Iowa. You no longer will have to do that because it is national coverage on this.
Other questions? No action today?
No, more to come. Like I said, I figured we'd give a brief update on how the rest of the employee meetings go, and then do that poll on the council if they want to go ahead and provide that notice by that April 1st. March is kind of a weird month where we have 5 Mondays, so we kind of felt like we didn't want to rush it since we have a few more weeks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Catherine.
You're welcome, guys. If you think of anything else, let me know. Bye, guys.
Where do we want to go next?
I handed out. After we estimated our revenue. Our estimated revenue to the general fund only, $5,043,845.61. Now, this does not include any major changes to fees or services. Some accounts have increased, some accounts have decreased due to use. General fund property taxes are the max that the city area is able to. The projected expenditures, that includes a 5% wage increase as per union contract. Then, of course, increases in fuel, utilities, and vehicle repairs as outlays demonstrate. There are no new positions or programs in the budget. There is one really large increase. That is a $95,000 increase for the landfill fees. And that second page is the Metro Waste Authority notice that our landfill fees are going to increase. They're going to, tipping fees are going to increase to $60 a ton. Then we'll also have the closure costs, so that's going to be that 80 Josh back there. So it's going to be a total of $85.99 a ton.
Just 60.
Still, it's going to increase dramatically and drop its mass, and that's going to be about 95,000. So that being said,
$38 a ton, I believe.
our budget usually is around 200,000 a year. This will jump it up to 295,000.
Yeah, we were at like $38 a ton. And then we got a letter saying it's going to 60. So Sven and I did meet with Metro Waste and kind of talk to them about it. It's not just for Perry, it's everyone that uses Metro Waste. And the thinking is they have the Metro East landfill and the Metro West landfill. And the East has kind of been supplementing the West, and they kind of want the West to be self-sufficient. I mean, it stinks that they're wouldn't have done like $5 a year here or there, to get you up to that point. But yes, it's a dramatic increase. But we have to have a place to take garbage too. So I personally think probably really, 100% gonna have to look at increase of rates, residential and commercial. So
How many tons is Perry dumping per year?
you're gonna ask
60.
me that. Let's say,
There's a spreadsheet for that.
yeah, 4,000 roughly. Or we,
So for residential, the arm truck, so residential, you're at roughly 3,700 tons. And for commercial, What? Oh, the arm truck, yes, 2,300, commercial, you're roughly at 2,200.
4,500.
That was for 2025.
Well, we probably won't have much choice, I just say we gotta. But at some point, how much increase would this be for resident
We'll
professional?
do down to that.
Yeah, yeah.
So the budget overage would be 183, a little over $183,000. Now, doing the math, the garbage collection fee, definitely going to need to increase it, and we discussed this. Try to make it fair for everyone. Would be, you're kind of looking at a $2 per bill increase, so $19 for residential. So like $19 a month, $21 a month. And then with the commercial, which isn't nearly as much as the residential, it would kind of be on a sliding scale, like for different size dumpsters and things like that, that would bring in another like 30. So that would be 90,000 of that. $183,000 deficit. So that would take it down to about 93,000. With some other things we can look at for revenue sources. I mean, let me just say this first. Every year we've had budget issues, and we've always managed to come up with money to figure this out and make our budget that. This year, I mean, we're gonna really have to brainstorm and think of some things to do, because I've looked through the numbers over and over and over again. I've got Liz and I've got Ben, and we review them and it just isn't there. It's like we made the cuts that we can. We need to increase revenues where we can. We need some other options here. And hopefully the council will, have a good plan too. But I don't mean to sound overly bleak, but everything the way it is, it's pretty.
One question, so savings in the insurance, that comes out of a different fund than the general fund, right? So if we save there, we can't use any of that savings.
And that wouldn't really affect this year for the fiscal year 27, because we do have a deficit there we want to get paid off, and that would affect like 28 budget in there. We have looked at some other revenue sources and brainstormed different things. Now Ben, he says with JBS coming on, they do have like natural gas up there, so that would be possible higher Mid-American Energy franchise fee. Possibly 20,000 or more.
That's just a rough guess, because we might be able to narrow it down a little bit more, but Mid-American won't give out any customer specific information as far as what a bill is or could be. So we just kind of had to make a guess, but I know natural gas was one of a significant input to their process. So
Have they talked to you about a franchise?
they're gonna be on Mid-American, so that's just what it is. There hasn't been conversation of not having the franchise fee. So I think that conversation more is with Guthrie County REC that we've struggled to connect with to implement franchise fee in Guthrie County REC territory. But that is something that we are working towards, which will be a conversation with those that are currently out there and under construction.
So that would impact APR.
Yep. ITC, probably not that much, and even Percival's, I've already talked to Percival and it wasn't a earth shattering impact to them to pay that 4%. Kind of one of those of, you know,
Everything's
I-
going up.
not my first choice, but they understand.
Has it ever not been like this? Every year that I've been like this.
Been better.
It's just, it hasn't been this bad. This is definitely the biggest
Well-
grant number that I've seen.
It's been, when. Probably in 2002, 2003, it was really bad, but, um,
So the sky isn't falling. You've seen this.
it's, yeah.
This is not your first rodeo.
No, but
Sad to
this
say.
is, but with the kind of like the unknown of what. It's going to do.
And we discussed this a little bit, with. What was it, 20 FY 24 budget? Or 25, whatever. Previously. Our general fund levy prior to the first property tax change would have been about, $8.50. Now that gone through a couple of years of reductions, that general fund levy is down to about $8.09. So we're about 40 cents short, or we're collecting 40 cents per thousand less today than we would have been. So we're kind of continually, it's just that 2 steps forward with working on the development that we have, and then 3 steps back with the property tax changes.
It seems to me like everything is more expensive. Now, I mean, like, since 2020, that feels like the marker, right, where everything just started to go bananas. A couple questions that I have. When was the last time that we increased garbage fees? I think the last time we talked about this, I heard 2010. That,
Probably
We,
12.
yeah, we've increased the commercial since then.
Yeah.
Maybe like 2020. I was here when we increased commercial.
It was probably 18 when we got large, different size dumpsters and stuff.
The residential, I remember doing like some fuel increases in my time and stuff, I keep that cool.
Well, it's-
When I started back in 98, I think it was. No, I don't think it's increased more than $2.
I mean, I guess I'm just going back to last year when we had to do this, and, you know, we were walking on glass doing all these things, but I think that, I know that I, as a consumer, have to understand that the price of things has increased dramatically, right? I mean, it sucks for everybody and everything, and that number's kind of alarming, but,
And
everything is
prior-
costing the city more money as well, like the gas and all these things are.
Yeah, prior to receiving the Metro Waste, I lovingly refer to them as our Christmas card. We actually got a Christmas card from them too. You know, we were having conversations of increasing garbage just to keep up with costs. But then we got this, that would be a $2 to $3 increase in one shot. So
Do we have any assurance from them that this isn't going to happen every year? I know that how that kind of. Like that when they're able to do that, and it kind of feels good, and they
I
start
think-
looking at their bottom line and like, maybe we could just do that every year. Do we have any assurance from them? No.
no more than previous, but I would say. I would assume with this large of an increase, it's more of a just resetting the 2 landfills separately. Moving forward, it would just be adjustments looking at the increased costs.
Do we have other items outstanding that haven't done this to us yet? That maybe we should talk about preemptively?
I mean, every supplier of every single thing we consume
We have
to
some
provide.
Yeah, some that are bigger.
Yeah,
increase $95,000.
You know, this is jumping ahead a little bit, but just in the last 5 years, per kilowatt hour for electricity, I think when we did the solar project, it was 12 or 13 cents per kilowatt. Today it is 18.65 cents. So helpful on the side of savings with solar, but it's also very much so, you know, that's just an example of how much that has gone up in that time frame. So,
So the,
You know.
the recycling efforts. How much does that cost us compared to dumping out at Metro? Because I still hear people saying, oh, I don't recycle because they just take it and dump it out at the dump anyway. And I said, no, they did that at first when people were dumping garbage in the bins. But since
We take recycling down to Metro Waste and Grinds every Wednesday. That's why we have that extra truck. And that's why we commingled everything, that it all gets picked up on Wednesdays. Sometimes when it gets full, they will take the truck out on Friday afternoons. Go pick up those, the blue containers around town. So it's clear for the weekend. In terms of cost, are they charging us for recycling? Do you know, have you seen any recycling bills?
Yeah, I can look.
You know, I remember when we were taking it to International Paper, I know we were paying $38 a ton out there and they were charging us 90 to take recycling. So more than double to take it. And there's no regulation saying you have to recycle, but it's one of those feel good things too, you know.
But I was just wondering,
Yeah,
do we want to push people? Because I know with Amazon delivering a lot more, there's a lot more cardboard. And I know
Yeah.
I work at the food pantry
yeah,
on a truck twice a month, and all those go in the dumpster
sure.
because they say, oh, they just dump it
Yeah.
landfill anyway. And so it's like, no, they don't. But if it costs more, then I don't want to push it from,
Yeah, I mean,
it
it
doesn't
does,
save us any push
it
one or
does.
the other, but there's a savings.
Yeah, it does cost more. I mean, money.
Yeah. Just in that first meeting that Josh and I had with Metro Waste, I think there's other opportunities to partner with them. In some other communities, they provide cardboard dumpsters, like our drop off, different things like that. So I think there's room to how we partner with them on some things, but it's, you know, it's also kind of one of those just a matter of time things.
If we had one of those dumpsters, who pays for that? Who pays for the removal?
What's that?
I know, I'm not
Like a
sure.
big dumpster by,
You can't use that.
I understand.
Yeah.
Who pays?
County. The county, the tax residents of Dallas County.
I believe they charge per dump.
And
So, I believe so.
And I know the one out by Hy-Vee and stuff, I from talking to them, that they were picking that up and they were not charging them. And then I think they got to the point, and this is somebody from the county had told me this, that at one point they were charging them almost $400 every time they pick those up. And the reason is you can educate and educate and educate, but they're still putting stuff in there, you know? If you want to have you can't have a full-time police officer sit on there, you know, and watch it. But Liz looked it up, and $96 a ton is what we pay for recycling today.
I had a question. The 5.27 project expenditures would have to reduce in order to get the overage down
Well, that or increasing revenue.
or increasing that. I see the increase will be parking fees downtown.
Well,
I don't think that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think right now we don't have any paid lots. And there's always a possibility, but
And I
I
know,
wouldn't bring in too much, but that's a possibility. We haven't. You can always look at, like, the garbage charge, that's something that would affect everyone equally. off the board garbage, but like jury fees, that would only affect people who went to the rec center. The cemetery fees would only affect few people. All from one fund. No.
We did talk about.
Yeah.
And
It's-
rate, and insurance will pay for those sometimes.
Because that's an insurance.
So- On the fire service fees,
Yeah.
most coverages do, yeah. And I
We
think
talked about.
we're working on that, and I think time has been full with switching software all last year and other.
It's with the fire chief. It's been
Okay.
with the fire chief, so. I reviewed like 6 or 7 cities a while back when it was originally discussed and, Brett drafted an ordinance for it. I can share it. if you'd like.
What does that look like? Like, how many calls do we have a year approximately? We don't have 1,000 of them. What does a fire fee look like? Is that $1,000?
Let me get my folder open real quick. Yeah, the last time I touched a folder was February of 2023. Bear with me, Jared, it's been a while since I looked in it, since I looked at it.
I remember talking about
Yeah.
that, and I'd like something like that, because that doesn't affect someone who's already just been affected, right? That goes with the insurance,
This one.
but
I
what does
think,
that really look like? Is that?
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was very much so, like, and it wasn't, it had a lot of things in it, so it also had Knox box requirements for like the keys where they go. It had fire service fees, and there was 2 options, that based off of all of the other ones that were reviewed. So vehicle fires, grass fires, structure fires, up to certain maximums. And it was at the time discussed to do the up to fee. So then that way, I don't have insurance. We could say, okay, fine, pay us $100 but Sven's insurance covers up to 500. Obviously, you'd want to bill whatever the insurance is going to cover up to. It also had false alarms in there. I know at one time that was an issue, setting up charges for false alarms for people whose systems don't work well. And then kind of there's still a lot of yellows on it, isn't there, Vicky? Just, it was a very drafted. I think, the former fire chief had drafted something that didn't have hardly any detail in it, and that got given to me, and then that's when we went this. And I don't, like I said, a lot of the stuff that I looked at for like communities that had it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5-ish, 6-ish is what I was going off of.
Any idea?
Well, we did look up we did look up, Sven did have me pull from the county. I don't remember if that was 2024 probably. They do a lot of calls. It really put me on the spot, Barb. Yep, I did it in 2025, I think for 2024. It's in here somewhere, I'm just not typing on the right thing. I don't remember. They had a lot more EMS, like first responder calls, obviously, than they did fire calls. And I think we looked at how many false alarm calls were in there too, but from the top, from my memory, I'd have to give you I'd have to go back and research that out. And like I said, that was for 2024, so that's obviously aged information. If you really wanted to do analysis, we probably should request 2025 calls for service, which I definitely can do.
I mean, if it's gonna generate $10,000.
I don't
Worth doing.
I don't think it was anything of that number. I I had 5 in my head, but that's a lot for my memory.
Yeah.
But it's
Is that calls just for Perry?
I love it. $5,000.
So is it just,
Residents, I do not love it,
so it
yes.
could be for soil?
Yeah,
Okay.
so Vicky's question was, is it just for Perry? It was calls for our department, so that could have been calls going out to the townships as well, not just strictly city limits people. And that would be a Dewey question on the calls for service charge fee, since it would be an ordinance. I don't know how it would need to get written to encompass your townships that we serve.
Turn the hose on till they write a check.
Well,
That costs $500.
That's something to look
Quarter
into.
slot
though.
on the side of the fire truck. Your credit card in there.
I have a question, Susie.
Yeah.
I have a question, Susie, on the 183.3. If we don't find 183.3, what happens to 183? We write a bounce check? I don't know. What do we do? I mean, it's 183, you gotta find it, right?
Yeah.
So if you can't find it, what happens to the 183? It just rolls over to the next year with interest?
Have a balance, but
So, I mean,
With that said, I say the project expenditures has to reduce from the 5,227. They have to reduce 5,227.
I mean, with the expenditure decreases, I think we have, right now, we have, department heads reviewing their part-time wages and or any promotions, that can be, we're gonna look at that a little more. Like, this is, sounds petty, but like, look at limiting like staff development budgets for anywhere with an overnight stay, like. And then this comes up every year, and and I suppose everybody is tired of hearing about it. The franchise fee, what we pay out as a franchise fee or reimbursement to other entities. And I know Ben has already discussed, cutting that in half, like only to the Dallas County Hospital. So that's gonna be around 5,000, but the Progressive Foundry is 72,000. Hotel motel tax to the chamber is 42,000, and then the cable franchise fee is 60,000. And you know, that's something that we really don't like to discuss, but it's there, and, you know, if our expenditures and if our revenues from the state are decreasing, then, you know, when we get to a point where we can't pay other.
So with the hospital, in conversation with Angela, I think kind of came to what she felt comfortable with was like doing half in this budget year and then like a 2-year plan to then not have any of the following reimbursement back to the hospital.
Can we do similar things with Progressive and Chamber?
It's always a discussion. I know we had that discussion, was that last year? I think it was brought up in October sometime. Never came to the council agenda. So I think that's something that council and staff would want to speak with each of those entities. So
Vegas is still. Yeah. Operating entity.
No, that's right, I don't.
Not on my channel 5 on my cable, or whatever it was, 4 or 5,
and I believe,
well, yes.
Larry Bodnick is on the board. I just talked to him Friday about getting together, so. Get an update from Pegasus of their statuses. But I think a couple of people checked and it wasn't, broadcasting.
I know they still film some things, but I think they just put it direct to YouTube, and do they need to work from us, or can we get some from the state, or can we do something else to fund them?
And I forget 20 years ago or 10 years ago, but the cable franchise fee steadily decreases as more people cut the cable and use streaming services. So I don't know, Susie, what did that used to be? 25,000, 30,000?
Cable franchise fee used to be like about.
Yeah.
Dave, the raises,
I don't know if there are.
Yeah.
If they are not ready.
We'll need to have a conversation with them. Get an update on statuses.
So this might, is there any state or money? State or county money to be had anywhere for anything? Do we have anything that we can sell? Do we have, maybe like, the first thing that I'm thinking of, Josh, I'm gonna put you on the spot, talk about getting Josh a new truck with an arm. Keeping an old arm around, sell an old arm, is that a thing that we could do? Not, I'm just using your example, Josh, don't get mad at me. But do we have things that we can liquidate? I know that they do that occasionally. There,
And it's,
I'm thinking about what I do when I'm broke. That's what I'm thinking about.
and it's,
get rid of
you
it.
know, it's having a garage sale to
Only helps.
plug the ship for, you know, or don't know how much our abandoned property sales, abandoned and unused property brings in. Right. Unused property. You know, I'm trying to think back, selling an old police vehicle or the recycle truck, like. What did the recycle truck go for? $500?
Very much.
So,
Infill lots that we've taken houses down.
yeah, I mean, we did that this year. And those funds from the sale have gone back into a fund to help
On more.
fund more of that specific activity. Just trying to build momentum on that, so.
So we don't have an inventory. That's the one that we.
Yeah, I think there's
Send the award on.
there's a couple, but a few of those don't have infrastructure to them as far as sewer. And then I think the one on, is it West Sixth? Still has a house on it that we need to figure out what to do with. But again, that's, you know, a one-time sale of a property.
With the deficit of 183,000. If council would like to raise the garbage fee, this residential and commercial, up to 90,000. And if we work with staff some more to look at the part-time wages and some other things, that could be about 30,000 if we can come to some agreements on part-time wages.
What if we would do the garbage needs to pay $3?
I mean, that's also.
I mean, if.
If-
it used to
if
be
it was-
2012.
Yeah.
And everything else has gone up. And since
Double.
then.
Yeah.
I mean, people really bitch about dollars.
We would receive phone calls,
Sure you would,
so,
but insurance is going up 40%,
and
you know?
I mean,
so-
just the cost of the equipment went from $250,000 in 2021 to $450,000 in
Yeah.
2026.
Equipment, every single part of that. Go on those trucks, every single
Their
part.
estimation plus the 90,000 more we gotta pay the land.
And like staff wages go up every year as
I mean, like,
So,
if I'm thinking about it,
Go up there.
I'm thinking about it the way that I would think about something in my business. I would say, okay, I'd increase $95,000. Now I need to make sure that I'm getting paid for that $95,000. That's the thing that I have to pay for, right? But then also I might say, I haven't raised prices since 2012 either. Maybe I should also do that as well. I mean, we can't just,
And I don't think it's just this year. We gotta look for what's gonna happen, so we're not in this situation next
Oh,
year.
You know, I forget what year. 7, maybe even 8 of the 8-year rollback, we're about done getting the rollback too, and then that's tapering down. I think this year the rollback in the general fund is only about 1,000 still. And that's gone, that'll be another, that's the commercial industrial. We're lucky to be getting it the entire 8 years, actually, that's. So, if we, the garbage, some of the other cuts with department heads. The, and can look a little more into the Mid-American franchise fees. And if Pegasus is operating, those things could get us down to about 27,000.
talk about
Whatever
council
rate
tax.
is, and increase from $2 to $3.
That would be another,
Be what?
that would take care.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's also,
There, you can, other research
Yep.
too.
I think we should probably have a conversation.
Got
with
three.
the Region. I mean, they do a lot of really great things for the community, and I think we talked about that the last time we met with them. They have to understand that we don't got it, we don't got it.
Well, yeah, and I'd like to set another work session, maybe later next week or the beginning of the last week in March.
But just
So I'll have to have the budget totally done into the paper by April.
In that same conversation, Jeremy, it was also the hospital and the school district, I believe, was in that same conversation. So far as franchise fees increased.
so
I know what you
Yeah.
just said, Angela.
somewhere along the line, the schools have never had it or. Yeah,
So there was only the hospital and the school in that conversation.
only the hospital in the Foundry.
There wasn't a conversation about county shed, that was a thing too?
I have to go back and look everybody that we listed out on,
Right, cause I know there was,
yeah, on the Mid-American one. Because I don't think that we don't give back so you have to remember, Alliant charges on everybody no matter what. And we issue a refund or a payback for that. With Mid-American, they will write it off. The school might be on Mid-Americans. I have to go back and look, because I think there was 5 or 6 that you guys authorized to be exempt on the Mid-American one. Because I know St. Patrick's School at one time was on that list. They're not now. And yeah, just found the county gal's name.
St. Pat's.
No, they are, but they were at one point.
Just a reminder that you see Jesse Green or Carter Nordman express your opinion about them helping us with our property tax bills and what it's doing to us. So,
Which
um,
I'll mention this in our regular city council meeting as well, but they will be hosting a legislative forum at Dallas County Hospital this Saturday at 1 p.m. One of the second floor meeting rooms.
okay,
You think we can meet on? In 2 weeks on Monday, the 30th? That way I have a 1 week to get it up. then into the paper. That's the Monday.
When do you have to have it in?
By Friday, I have to have it to the paper by Friday. Oh, I guess that's a.
I thought you had to have it by April 1st, so. You have to do the 23rd.
No, I have. Public hearing would be, we have to set the public hearing on the 6th.
Oh,
And
or,
then hold it on the 20th, so that would
Okay.
give us,
so we could have it.
yeah, we'd have to
6th
publicize,
meeting.
yeah,
Okay.
that, the 9th.
Why don't,
I could do it.
What are we looking at for a date for the budget meeting?
Monday the 30th?
I'm sure what time?
Does the afternoon work for everybody?
Afternoon, be better.
Yeah, I have to work at 3:30. Oh.
About-
I can do 1 o'clock. We can be done here by 3:30.
We're at.
I could probably forego a little of my pay. The Arnold Schwarzenegger thing. Any other ideas anybody has for?
One that Susie and I will be fine tuning a little bit is doing a partial buyout of our solar arrays. Which could be around $22,000 to $24,000 a year. So we have a little bit more back and forth to do with Terry with Redline Renewables. That would be an option, utilizing the lease rate or the lease income from the Alliant solar array out at the brownfield. We've kept that in a sustainability fund, so we could use that to buy out some of our solar.
Buy out. Pay
So-
completely,
Yeah, so
so that we get. the full
buy
benefit.
it so that we're no longer paying Redline for the kilowatts. So.
Like 24.
There's a few different options between about $22,000 and $24,000.
I did find the resolution finally for your exemptions. So right now, your current exemptions are all city accounts, obviously for natural gas and electric, progressive boundary, electric franchise fee specific to the one account that runs the furnaces. Dallas County Hospital, natural gas and electric franchise for the hospital and clinic. Dallas County Ambulance Services for both, or just for natural gas. Perry Community School District just for natural gas, and Dallas County Engineers just for natural gas. So the school, the ambulance service, and the Dallas County Engineer all pay electrical. The only one you waive them on is gas. And Progressive Foundry does pay gas. You only waive them on that one electrical. But I can send this, since I found it, I'll send it out to people so you guys can at least have it. Can't believe you don't remember from March of 2025. Actually, almost a year ago to the date.
I think I did. I think I was bringing up things more on the sheet. I feel like I did remember. Remember.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, Nita, well, thank you and all your staff for all the work you've done to get to this point. A lot of work. Okay. Do we need a motion to adjourn or do we just, okay,
Done at 5:55.
5 minutes for the next,
Stay right here on the side.